Hello friends, in this video tutorial I am going to tell you about the data types in Java. Basically data types is used to declare the variables, array, but at this time we are only just talking about the variables. So here you can see it is an example of declaring a variable using data types. So int is a data type and var is a variable name. We can assign any name to the variable, but using certain rules that number should not appear in the beginning of variable name. We cannot use any special character between the variable name. We can only use underscore in variable name. We cannot use space in a variable name. So there are certain rules which we have to follow while declaring any variables. And it is the general syntax of variable declaration. We must specify data type and then we can write variable name. We can also declare multiple variables of same type in a single instruction like that. Data type, variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, variable 4, and we can also assign any number of variables by comma separated. Types of data types. Data types are divided into two categories in Java. One is primitive data type and another next one is non-primitive, or we can also say reference type or object data type. So by this tree structure we can also understand the classification of data types. Data types are divided into two categories, primitive and non-primitive. And further we can also divide primitive data type in two categories. One is Boolean, and in Boolean we will use Boolean keyword to declare any Boolean variable. In Boolean variable we can assign only two types of value. One is true and another next one is false. We can also classify this numeric data type in two categories: characters, integral. Character are the data types in which we can store any single character in a variable. Integral is also divided into two categories. One is integer and another next one is floating point value. Now in the integer category, we are having four data types: byte, short, int, long. Basically, these four different data types are divided according to their range and size. Byte takes 8-bit space, short take 16-bit space, integer take 32-bit space, and long take 64-bit space. So again, according to our requirement, our value size, we can select any of these data type among integers. But integer cannot store floating point value. So for floating point value, we are having two data types, float and double. They are also divided into two categories, float and double. They are also according to their size. Float take 32-bit space and double take 64-bit space. And in the non-primitive data type, they are basically user-defined data type. An example of non-primitive data types are string, arrays, and if we will create our class like student, animal, they all are under the non-primitive data type. All primitive data types are declared using predefined keywords like boolean, char, byte, short, int, long, float, double. And non-primitive data types are user-defined data types. Now to better understand the concept of data type, let's have a program and understand the concept of data type. So for the program, just go to the start menu, open a notepad and write the program. So as Java is object oriented programming, so we cannot write without class any program. So first of all, we need to write a class demo and curly braces, public static void main string args. Now let's start with byte data type. Byte and value is the name of variable. So as I have told that there are certain rules to give a variable name. Like suppose I save this program. To save this program, go to the file, save option, and our default location is F program file. So I am saving this program in this Java program folder. Change the save as type to all file. Give name to the program same as the class name demo, and .java is extension of Java file save. And for compilation, open command prompt and go to the location where program is saved in F drive, change directory, Java program. And now I compile this code Java C and demo.java. So everything is fine. There is no error. But if I place a numeric value in variable name, so what will happen? Go to the file, save the program, and now again compile this. You will get some error. There are three error is showing that, but the reason is only one, that we have placed a numeric value in variable name in the beginning. So it is not allowed. And if we place this one in the end or in between the variable name, I take one more variable and place this one between name, Control S to save, and go to command prompt and compile this code. So it is fine. So it is clear that we cannot place any numerical value at the beginning of variable name, but we can place numerical value at the end or in between variable name. Now delete this. We cannot place any other characters like star or question mark in between the variable name. Only underscore is allowed within the variable name. Even space are also not allowed within the variable name. So we need to remember these small things related to the variable name. Now come to the next line, and if we assign some value to the variable like value, and for example 25, and in system.out.println I print this value, Control S to save this program. Now again compile this program. There is no error, and you can also run this program Java demo. Enter. Yeah, 25 is there, so there is no problem. But if I assign value equals to 256, save this program and compile this program and see what will happen. There is an error, incompatible type. What is exactly happening? The byte data type can accept a maximum value. Basically, there is a range for byte data type. So for that, what we need to do? We need to go to the another data type. So we must specify some larger data type. So I take a short data type and save this program, compile. Now there is no error and execute. Now it is fine. And if I increase the value of this variable, let's take this value, save this program, and again compile the code. So here again the same problem, incompatible type, because short data type is also having some range. Short data type can take the value from minus 32768 to plus 32767. So bigger than 32767 it will not accept. Even less than minus 32768 is also not acceptable. For example, suppose I compile this code. So again we will get the same error. So for that, what we need to do, we need to go to the some more bigger data type, and here is the integer for us. Save this program again, go to the command prompt, compile the code, and see. Now there is no error. Execute this. It is working fine. Now if I take more bigger value, what will happen in that case? Now your integer is also giving the error. So we are having a more bigger data type. For that, it is long. Save. I just compile this code. Now still it is giving some error. So basically for the long data type, we must specify a capital L at the end of numerical value, and then save this program, and now you can compile this code. So there is no error. You can execute this code. Now it is working fine. So here we are having four basic integer data type: byte, short, int, long, which will take integer values. Now we will go to the next data type. Just delete this, like character, char, for character data type, and we can assign any single character enclosed in a single quotes in a character data type. For example, E. Save it. Now compile this. No error. Execute this. Is working fine. Even that we can assign some numbers in single quote. It will also work as a character. Compile and execute. It is working fine. Even we can place any operator like plus. Compile, execute. Even we can use a single space as a character. Compile and execute. Well, there is a space, but we are not able to see this space. What I am trying to say that character data type can take any type of character enclosed in a single code. So all the alphabets are character, all the digits are character, all the special symbols are character. So let's take another data type, float, and assign some value to the float. So float is basically used to take a floating point value. Let's take 34.44, and for the float we must specify f at the end of value. Save this code, compile it, and execute it. So it is working fine. Now let's take some bigger value. Save this code, compile and execute. See what happened. 34.444847 means your runtime engine is giving only this output, only this value. It is not giving this value. So basically float data type will give you 4 byte space in memory. So we cannot store a bigger floating point value in a float. So to store the bigger floating point value, we must specify double. And in the double, we can write D at the end of the number, but it is optional. If we do not write D at the end of value, even though it will work fine. So let's compile this code and see, execute this code. So you will see exactly whatever value we have assigned to the value, it is printing. Now let's take another data type, Boolean. Boolean data type takes only two values, either true or false. Let's compile this code and execute this code. So here is true, and we can also assign false. Save this program, compile this code and execute this code. So, and if we try to assign something else, for example 10, let's see what happened. Compile this code. Yeah, here it will give error because Boolean takes only two values. So here is our all 8 primitive data types. Let's understand a few more things related to the data types. Just delete this code. Let's take a variable of type integer, I variable, and let's take another data type, long, L variable, and assign some value. Let's take 10 to the I variable. And if I assign integer type value in the long type, so what will happen? Let's see, L variable. Save this program and execute this. Compile. Okay, semicolon is missing. Place a semicolon. In Java, every statement must be end with semicolon. Save and compile and execute Java demo. So it is working fine. We are assigning one type of value to the another type. So if this both variable are of same category, means both data types are of integer type data type, and int is a smaller than long, so we can assign a smaller data type value to the bigger data type value. But if we do the reverse, for example L value, now take the reverse of this. I am trying to store a larger value in a smaller variable. In that case, just compile this code. Now you will get an error, incompatible type. It means we cannot assign a larger value to the smaller data type. So if we assign a smaller value to the larger data type, so it is called implicit type conversion. Now delete this code and we will take some other example. Suppose I take a double value D variable and take integer value I variable. Suppose I assign a value 23 to I variable, and suppose I try to assign a integer value to a double value. So what will happen? Because these both data types are of different category. It is floating point data type and it is integer type data type. And I print that D variable. What will happen in this case? Compile and execute. So it is working fine. So it is also an implicit type conversion of data type. But we have assigned 23 and here the result is 23.0. So basically runtime engine implicitly convert this 23 into 23.0 and assign to the D variable. If we change that we will take 23.5 to the variable of double type variable, and if we assign this value to the I variable. Now in this example, if we see the result of I variable, in that case, compilation and execution, you will get 23. So when you explicitly convert the double value into the integer, runtime engine eliminate the floating point value from the number, and only integer part will be saved in integer type variable. So these are our primitive data types. Now let's take an example of non-primitive data types. So just delete this code and declare a non-primitive data type. Suppose a string is a non-primitive data type, so we can take a value, suppose str equals to, or we can assign any string to this variable like hello and semicolon, and we can print this str, compile this code and execute this code. So here you will get your string. But if we create our own data type, like suppose for example I create a class called student. If we want to create a student data type s1, in that case I need to use a new keyword to declare a variable, and this variable is basically called reference type variable. Means this variable is referring a object of student class. By the way, we will see this reference data type and how to create the classes and how to declare their objects in some other tutorial. But at that time we can understand that how can we declare a reference type, or we can say non-primitive data type variables in Java. Now let's take some more example of this. So just delete this code and again declare a string str equals to, for example I take 33 and with semicolon. Now compile this code. So it is fine. It is printing 33 as a string. But I need to store this value in an integer variable, like a variable semicolon variable equals to str. So I'm trying to assign a string value in a variable, and let's print this value and compile this code. Yeah, there is error, means we cannot assign a string value to the variable. Let's try to type convert it or use explicit conversion, because implicit conversion, as this example is showing, that implicit conversion is not allowed. So let's try explicit conversion. So still your program is giving error. It means we cannot explicitly or implicitly convert a non-primitive data types to a primitive data types. So for that we are having some another method. For that we need to use a method integer dot parse int and place this string variable inside the parenthesis. Now try to execute this code, compile There is no error and execute. So it will work fine. And what will happen if we give some non-numeric string in the string variable? Let's see. Compile this code, and compilation is okay. But when we execute this code, our code will generate a number format exception. It means syntactically it is okay, but when this parse int method is trying to convert this hello into the integer, it is throwing an exception. So by this, I have tried to explain primitive and non-primitive data types. So let's have a quick review of all data types. So here is a primitive data type. Primitive data types are predefined by the language and named by a keyword. There are 8 primitive data types: byte, short, int, long, float, double, character, and boolean. Byte. Byte data type is an 8-bit signed 2's complement integer. The minimum value is minus 128 and maximum value is plus 127, and default value is 0. If we do not assign any value to the variable, then Java automatically assign the 0 to the byte. And byte data type is used to save the space in a large array, mainly in place of integer, since a byte is a 4 times smaller than an integer. An example is that byte A equals to 100 or byte B equals to minus 50. Short data type is an 16-bit signed 2's complement integer. The minimum value is minus 32768 and maximum value is 32767. And short data types can also be used to save memory as byte data type. A short is a 2 times smaller than integer. Default value is 0. And short, example, short is equals to some value. And similarly, integer data type is a 32-bit signed 2's complement integer. Minimum value is minus 3247483648 and maximum value is 2147483647. Int is generally used as a default data type for integral values unless there is a concern about memory. The default value is 0, and long data type is a 64-bit signed 2's complement integer. Minimum value is this and maximum value is this. This type is used when a wide range then int is needed. Default value is 0. Float data type is a single precision 32-bit IEEE 754 floating point. Float is mainly used to save memory in large array of floating point numbers. Default value is 0.0f. Float data type is never used for precise values such as currency. We must place f at the end of value. Double data type is double precision 64-bit IEEE 754 floating point. This data type is generally used as the default data type for decimal values, generally the default choice. Double data type should never be used for precise values such as currency. Default value is 0.0 D. An example, double D1 equals to 123.4. And small d we can place at the end of D, but it is optional. Character data type. Character data type is a single 16-bit Unicode character. Minimum value is /u 0000. Basically, it is an Unicode symbol, and the maximum value is /u fff. This Unicode is for 0, and this Unicode is for 65,535. Each Unicode is represented as some character. Character data type is used to store any characters like char variable 1, a, variable 2, it is 1, variable 3, plus variable 4, space. Anything which comes in single quotes are character. Whether it is a character, whether it is a number, whether it is an operator or any space or other special characters. Now the Boolean data type represent one bit of information. There are only two possible values, true and false. This data type is used for simple flag that tracks true and false condition, and default value is false. Now reference data type, or we can say non-primitive data types. Reference variables are created using defined constructors of the classes. They are used to access objects. These variables are declared to be of a specific type that cannot be changed. For example, employee, puppy. Class, objects and variable type of array variables comes under the reference data types. Default value of any reference variable is null, and the reference variable can be used to refer to any object of the declared type or any compatible type. Example, animal is a class, and this animal is a reference variable, and this reference variable is referring animal class object of giraffe. So this is all about the data types in Java. Thanks for watching this video.